What's on Flix? I'm Fitz and Murph.
Good.
Right. Hey, listen, this week we saw a movie called Duplicity, starring Julia Roberts and Clive Owen. Murph, what do you think of this movie? What's it about? You want to tell people?
You tell the people. I don't want to. I'm comfortable.
Oh, good. Okay, enjoy yourself. Okay, so there's this movie. This is going to be really tough to explain even. There's this movie, Clive Owen, okay? He's in the movie. He plays Ray. Julia Roberts plays Claire. They're both former spies who now work for two major companies trying to take care of like business stealing ideas. They work for companies and they try to make sure that the company they work for, those ideas aren't stolen by this company. Both companies are run by these two guys. One company run by Paul Giamatti, the great Paul Giamatti from American Splendor and God, a bunch of other stuff.
Private Parts.
Good call. He was in Private Parts. And Tom Wilkinson from Batman Begins, Michael Clayton, and Rock and Roll Up, one of our favorite movies.
Yes.
But basically, it turns out everything is not as it appears. You think somebody's working for one company, but perhaps they're working for another. And are they really friends, or is one person screwing over the other person? And information they get, is it real information, or is it just not even real at all? And this is basically the movie. This is what I'm trying to explain. A lot of it did not make sense to me. It made sense, but maybe it made sense a little too late at points. And I don't know, Murph. What the hell? What did you think of this movie?
I actually really liked this movie. I thought that you got Julia and Clive together. I thought the chemistry was excellent. I think the whole thing you're talking about with the not being able to understand it, confusing, is one of those things you don't want to go into this movie and try to dissect everything. You don't want to read too much into it. I think you were working too hard. I think you just kind of have to sit there and relax and watch it, and eventually things will start making sense. Because it's not, there are parts where it flashes back to 3 years later. It'll show you something. Wait a second, how does that fit into now? And then it'll go back to real time. And it does this throughout the movie, and it does get a little confusing, but if you just relax, you're going to enjoy this movie. I think it was excellent. Excellent movie.
I mean, I can agree with you. I mean, it's not that the movie was all bad, and you probably bring up a good point. I'm just afraid a lot of people, you're telling me that I shouldn't have overthought it. I agree with you. I shouldn't have overthought this, but my fear is a lot of you out there will do the exact same thing I do and overthink it, and it'll be of no fault of your own. Because if it can happen to me, it can certainly happen to you. This movie, I mean, there will be scenes where, let's say, something happens. And so you go, okay, that something happened, do. And then all of a sudden, the screen says 4 months earlier. And you're watching something happening 4 months earlier, but it makes no sense because of what you just saw 10 minutes earlier, which was really 4 months later. So you're trying to dissect all this in your head when all of a sudden the screen tells you 3 weeks earlier. And then something happens which makes what happens 3 weeks later or 2 months earlier make even less sense. So you start trying to dissect that. And meanwhile, while this keeps happening throughout the movie, you can't help but not only overthink it, but keep reminding yourself or realizing I'm watching a movie, which is not what you want to do when you're watching a movie. You want to be into the movie.
All right. Can I say something?
Yes.
You're making me feel like I think how you watch the movie, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
I probably don't really know what I'm saying either.
What I'm trying to do is tell you, I mean, I got sucked into that too, where I was overthinking, but you can't do that. And for the people that haven't seen the movie out there, just sit there, relax. It's a movie. All right? It'll come to you.
I was relaxed when I went there. I wore my nice brown sweater. Remember that brown sweater?
That. You look really good in that.
You got it for me for Easter that one year. I wore my brown sweater and I was totally chill. I had my one leg up on the one seat and the other leg was right there in case I needed it. And I was totally loving life. And then the movie began and I got very confused. Again, I mean, I wasn't like push confused. That movie pushed. I have no idea. But it was confusing enough that it made me realize I'm watching a movie. And I love Julia Roberts. She's wonderful in so many things. I love Clive Owen. He's so cool. That guy was almost the new James Bond. Daniel Craig became it, and hey, good for you, Daniel. But hey, Clive Owen would have been great too. But I was so taken out of the movie because of my confusion. And then I'd look up all confused and I'd see these movie stars, Clive and Julia, and it was just a constant reminder, I'm in a theater, I'm watching it, and it took me out of the whole movie. I mean, the director, Tony Gilroy, is it?
Tony Gilroy, yeah.
Tony Gilroy, I mean, he's only directed one other feature, Michael Clayton.
Brilliant.
Which also did a little bit of the old jumping around.
And it was great.
That actually, somehow it made more sense to me. A lot of Tarantino movies you watch, they jump around time, space, and I'm not confused, there's no problems, but this movie, it just didn't, I don't want to say I hated it. It's one of those movies I'm going to have to see 3 or 4 or 5 times before I kind of go, oh, alright, I get it. And is it worth seeing it that many times? No, I could be out doing hockey or something.
You could be golfing on the lawn.
On a lawn.
But anyways, no, I think that you're, what you kind of were turned off by, I really liked. I thought that Julia Roberts and Clive Owen, I thought were really good together, and I thought that right there alone, I love watching their scenes, that it distracted me from the confusion that I earlier partook in. So I think that just them alone kept me in the movie, along with Paul Giamatti, who was fantastic, as he always is. I thought that I really enjoyed this movie. I think you should go see it. That's it.
The duplicity, dumplicity, whatever. I'm saying, if you don't see it on cable, see it on cable. Don't rush out and see it. There are better things to see. So that's my review. Murph, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure working with you again.
Oh, it's been so good. And guys, everyone, check us out on fitsonflix.com. Make sure you have a nice week, and we will talk to you soon. That's a promise. Bye-bye.